I'm Daemonxel, and today we're going to talk about something a little bit different than the normal news. We're actually going to get into some game things. We're going to talk about the new T5 ships coming out, as well as the new Comet cores. But first, if you can tag that subscribe button, ring that bell, share and like the video, then of course you can stay up to date with everything that this channel has to offer. And I would like to make an announcement. Yes, I finally found my good mic again, so hopefully the audio problems we've had over the last 2 months will be a little bit clearer, and you won't have to complain about them anymore. But let's just dig right into why I'm making this video. First, let's get into the cores. Now, if you've seen in-game, there's a new store called the Hot Store, and if you've heard it on the previous video I did about the game news, we talked a little bit about it. In there is a option to buy for about $5 US, not sure about the other currencies. There is something called the new Capsuleer Supplies -L. Now, this includes a few things. You get 100 gift IP, you get 120 Plex, which is worth the $5 anyway, and you get the Comet Cruisers Nanocore Op Box. And of course, you get things to build up that Nanocore as well. You get 2 of the Material Supply 3 boxes, you get the System Structure Refractoring 3, the Light Radiation Recombination 3, 1 of those, and of course 50 of the Code Refractoring Permission 3s. But let's take a look at the box itself. Now, this is the Comet Core, which is going to tie in the entire event, and as you can see, it actually has a very nice visual effect. That's why I kind of like the Nano Cores a lot better than the skins. Not only can you adjust the appearance to whichever flavor you like, i.e. when I got the Neon Rain and I made the Tropic Thunder Apox Striker. Well, this one has a nice little graphic on both sides of the Comet Trail leading off the ship. Now, this core itself is for the 4 T5 cruisers. You have the Omen Comet Core, the Caracal Comet Core, the Vexor Comet Core, as well as the Stabber Comet Core. Now, each of these cores' main attribute, you can choose between your main damage type, you can choose between your tanking style, or you can choose a boost in warp speed itself. Now, I'm not sure, but I believe this is one of the first cores that has that warp speed as a primary. I usually remember them being in a secondary aspect. Now, all the bonuses are going to be the same for your main damage type. It's going to be plus 16.80% of your high slot, whether it be cannon, missiles, drones, or lasers. And the second variation is the tank, whether you're going to go shield or armor. That's going to be a flat 21%. And each of them gives a plus 19.80% warp speed increase. Now, it does start to vary once you get to the secondary attributes itself. Let's just take a peek at the Omen currently right now. In the secondary attributes of the Omen, you have a range of warp drive capacitor need, afterburner capacitor need, or just flat out capacitor. The warp drive as well as the afterburner will go between a negative 5.5% to a negative 5.75%. As well as the capacitor gives you a boost of plus 4.12 to 8.25. And everyone knows that the first 2 levels of a Nanocore are pretty easy training. It's once you get to that 3rd and 4th level where it becomes a grind and heartbreaking. Now, on the Comet Core itself, the Omen Comet Core, for the secondary attribute, it's going to be all about armor and tank. So you can choose between a flat-out boost to your armor, which is plus 4.50% to 9%. You can get a structure bonus. I don't know why you would want the structure bonus. I guess those who like to live out of the seat of their pants. But yeah, that's plus 4.5% to 9% boost. And you also have a armor repairer boost at 4.5% to 9%. So it's all the same percentages. You just pick what you want. You want either reps, or you want flat out armor, or you want structure. Third attribute is always going to be about your highs. So in this case, you got your laser damage, you got your range, or your tracking speed. Now, those variations are a little bit different for the tracking speed and the laser range. It ranges from a plus 3.15% all the way up to a plus 9.90%. And for the damage itself, you can have plus 5.25% to 8.40%. Now, the third attribute is going to be all about your speed. You have warp drive speed increase, you have afterburner speed increase, or just flat out flight velocity. All of them are going to give you that nice little bonus. The first two, the warp speed and the afterburner, warp drive speed or afterburner is going to give you a plus 4.20% all the way up to a 13.20% increase, whereas flight velocity would be, plus 3.15% to 9.90%. And on that last hard attribute, you're going to have another bonus to either armor repairing, or, this is a good one here, warp stability. So you're going to have for the armor, it's going to be between, the armor repair and the armor is going to be between 6% all the way up to 12%. But for that warp stability, it's going to be either plus 2 to 5. And that's going to be a flavor on all of them across the boards. You plug and play here with, say, the shield itself. It's going to be, shield boost or boost amount to, just flat out shield increase. And so basically just swap your tanks around and your highs, but all the other stats and percentages stay the same. So if you're looking to toughen up the Tier 5 cruiser, or even the T10 variations of these cruisers, this is a great core to do that. It's going to give you some, if you go all the way, you're going to get some warp stability, but it's going to give you a fast ship. It's going to give you a tankier ship and a harder hitting ship. And how can you go wrong with a $5 purchase, really? Now, I know a lot of people are free to play. Myself, I'm more of a dolphin. I make some light purchases here and there, but I do not whale it out. But I myself, I can't pass up a $5 deal, especially when it's going to give me the Plex to help out. And with today's Plex prices, it's a no-brainer. But let's dig into these other ships, because when you go down to the applicable ships for these cores, right now I'm on the Vexor. It gives me the choice of the Vexor Trainer, the Vexor Navy issue, the Vexor Sniper, the Vexor 2, and yes, there's another ship called the Vexor Modified. Now, little is known about the modified version of these cruisers, and that's going to be across the board. You're going to get your Vexor Modified, your Omen, your Stabber, and your Caracal Modified. Now, these are just Tech Level 5 ships, so you don't have to be Tech Level 10 to fly these. And of course, they're not going to have the crazy stats that the Tech 10s have. For instance, you have your regular base level, right? You have your, say, your Vexor. And then you have your not that's modified, but you have, before this, you had the VNI, the Vexor Navy issue. So it's going to be a stat difference between those two, between the, the faction version as well as the just base Tech 5 version. Now, of course, the bonuses on these modifieds are going to be the same as the regular T5 version. You're both going to have the, just looking at the Vexor, you're going to have the plus 7.5% drone damage, you're going to have the plus 5% drone EHP, and you're going to have the plus 2 kilometers to drone command range. But once you go beyond that, the stats do increase. For example, the Vexor itself, you're going to have the 5 drone slots, you're going to have the 2 highs. On the regular Vexor, you have 2 mids, and you have 4 lows, whereas the modified, you're actually going to have 3 mid slots now. But let's get right into the real nitty-gritty of the ship, the actual stats. On the regular Vexor, you're going to have a power grid output of 473 megawatts, whereas the modified version you get 523, so larger power grid there. You're going to have a bigger defense on the modified, whereas on the regular Vexor it's 9,841, or on the modified it's 11,383. Now, the bonuses across the board, say the resistances, the shield are going to remain the same. The resistance, basically the resistance across the board is going to remain the same on both these ships. The capacitor recharge time is going to be the same. However, the max capacitor recharge rate is going to be different. Whereas on the regular T5, you're going to get 12.69. On the modified, you're going to get 13.99. Your signature rate is going to be smaller on the modified, where on the regular Vexor it's 116.m. On the modified it's 111.8. It's not a huge difference, but scanner resolution is going to be a little bit better on the modified. You got 300 across on the Vexor. On the modified it's 303, and the sensor strength is also going to be stronger. On the modified it's 17.3, whereas the Vexor it's 16.8. The warp speeds are going to be the same, the mass is going to be the same, and the inertial modifier is also going to be the same on these ships. And like I said, we don't know how we're going to be getting these ships yet. We don't know if it's going to be a reward for the event that's going on. We don't know if it's going to be a modified login option. We don't know how we're getting them. Let's just put it that way. But you may ask, hey, if I don't get the core, but I get the ship, what's it going to look like? Well, it's going to be kind of a funky green and iridescent, kind of like I'm looking at the vector right now, it's kind of like a bug. And so when you turn it one way, it's going to be green. When you turn it another way, it's going to be purple. So it's like an iridescent style of ship, as you can see in the video. So, but the Comet Core is I like it a little bit better. It's like a white silver leading into a blue edge, and you're going to have those comet trails, you know, leading off. I know a lot of people play the game zoomed out, but you know, you do want to flavor up your ship sometimes when you're sitting in a CTA, and you know, you want to look at someone else's ship to see how they spiced it up to show their character, and you know, this one does show some character. Now, of course, like I said, you can change these colors, so have fun with it. And that's everything you need to know right now about this new Nanocore and the ships themselves. Like I said, I like to keep the videos a little bit short and to the point. I don't want to keep going on and wasting a lot of your time. So, until you hear back from me, have a great week, have a great weekend, fly safe, and remember, we're always one vision, one purpose, one front. Send me those kill mails.